Travelers have reported being detained at the US border even though they had valid travel visas. Germany updated its travel advisory for the US this week after a number of its citizens were detained at customs and then deported.
What if arriving in your dream destination meant being locked in a room, your phone taken, your rights ignored, and just for having the wrong last name or a funeral photo on your device? Right now, travelers with valid visas are being jailed or deported at US airports, and no one's talking about it. In the recent months, many people arriving in the United States have been detained or sent back even when they have valid visas or no criminal background. Muhammad, a 20-year-old student from the United Kingdom, received a scholarship to work at a summer camp in Minnesota. Though he was excited, he felt scared because of his Muslim name and nationality. He thought about using a temporary phone to avoid agents going through his personal data. He was worried they might misunderstand his private messages or photos. Another troubling case involved a Lebanese doctor who worked at Brown University. She flew into the country with a valid visa but was not allowed to enter. Agents searched her phone and found photos from a funeral for a former Hezbollah leader. She explained she went to the funeral for cultural reasons, not political ones. Still, they said the photos showed sympathetic views and sent her back. A Mexican family also had a difficult experience. They had all the right paperwork but were still held for hours and had their phones taken away and were eventually deported. No clear reason was given and their trip was ruined. Their immigration records were also affected. These are not just single cases. Many people from Muslim-majority or Latin American countries now feel they might be untreated fairly at the border. There is a growing concern about strict border checks and people being turned away without clear explanations. This fear has become a part of the travel experience for many. The recent rise in tourist detentions and deportations in the United States is linked to the policy changes that began during Trump's presidency and have grown stronger in 2025. Many of the strict immigration measures introduced during that time, such as tighter checks at borders, more power given to immigration officers, are still active. These policies have created the base for a very tough enforcement method, which continues under the current leadership, especially after recent national security events. U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement both have authority in immigration matters. Their roles sometimes cross, and there is little court involvement in their decisions. This gives agents the power to question, detain, and deport travelers based on personal judgment. Many people are removed without clear charges or the chance to speak with a lawyer. This situation has raised serious concerns from human rights groups about the lack of fairness and transparency. In 2025, a bombing in Boulder, Colorado carried out by an Egyptian national who stayed in the country beyond his visa period. The Department of Homeland Security took strong action. Officials began checking immigration records more closely and started removing people faster, while also banning future entry in some cases. Another growing issue is the use of algorithms and keyword searches by border officers to check travelers' digital devices. These systems look for signs of danger but sometimes make mistakes. Cultural or religious materials can be flagged wrongly, causing innocent people to face delays, questions, or even removal. Inside U.S. airport detention rooms, travelers are reportedly increasingly harsh and dehumanizing conditions. They are held for long hours without being allowed to use their phones, speak to a lawyer, or even know why they're being stopped. A traveler shared that it felt like being treated as a criminal without knowing the reason. This kind of experience is becoming more common, even for those who have green cards or valid visas. People are taken aside, questioned, and sometimes sent back to their countries without being told what law they broke. Under new laws set this year, Customs and Border Protection officers have more power to stop and question travelers based on unclear reasons or old information. During detention, many are not allowed to contact their family members or lawyers, and it becomes even more stressful for those who do not speak English well. Without someone to help them understand, they face long hours of questioning and fear of confusion. Reports show that places like JFK and LAX airports are seeing more people being held. Those coming from Europe, Latin America, and the Middle East seem to be affected more. Some are kept in plain rooms with no windows and bright lights, while agents keep asking questions and checking through their phones or laptops. Even small mistakes in travel details or online content can raise suspicion, and there is no legal process during these detentions. Many are sent back without speaking to a judge, and it can badly affect their future travel or immigration record. At airports in the United States, travelers enter an area where normal legal protections are much weaker. In this border zone, privacy and legal rights are reduced. Customs and Border Protection officers can search travelers and their belongings without a warrant or clear reason. This includes phones, laptops, and even social media accounts. Even travelers with valid visas can be searched simply because they are arriving in the country. These searches are allowed in the name of national security. In 2025, groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation said more travelers were being stopped or denied entry because of what was found on their electronic electronic devices. This included political opinions, religious materials, or personal conversations. If someone refuses to unlock their phone, the device can be taken away. In some cases, people are held for long periods of time while officials review their information. Immigration officers can also cancel visas or send travelers back without any hearing. A judge does not need to approve these actions, and there's no requirement for a lawyer to be present and no way for the traveler to argue their side. This can lead to long-term bans from entering the United States again, and because of this, many travelers take steps to avoid problems. Some delete apps, clear their phones, or simply carry simple devices with little personal information because they worry that something harmless might be misunderstood and cause serious problems. And this has made many people feel more anxious about international travel. The trauma starts with the shock of being detained. People are put in handcuffs, leg chains, and locked in a crowded center. In 2025, Lucas Silav, a German tourist, was kept for 16 days even though he had a valid visa waiver. He explained the whole experience was dehumanizing and he thought he would never try to visit the United States again. The situation is not really rare. Jessica Brosch, also from Germany, spent over 6 weeks in detention. Part of that time was spent in solitary confinement, which is known to cause serious mental health problems like depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Solitary confinement has been used more by immigration and customs enforcement. Human rights groups have spoken against it because of the mental damage it can cause. A report from the National Immigrant Justice Center in 2024 said, there was a 50% increase in the use of solitary confinement. This rise was seen most in people who already had health problems or other risks. Many of them said that the effects on their minds stayed long after they were released. A former detainee shared they were now afraid to travel to the United States again, even with a visa. The damage goes beyond emotional pain. Being detained often leaves a mark on a person's record. Names are added to global watch lists and can lead to being denied a visa or facing long checks when entering other countries. And this can affect future travel plans and cause more stress. People planning to travel to the United States should be very careful to avoid problems at the airport or with their visa. It's important to make sure the visa type matches the real reason for the trip. For example, if someone enters with a B2 tourist visa but plans to attend a business meeting, they could be denied entry or even detained. Officers at the US border are checking people more closely, especially after a June 2025 rule that added stricter checks for citizens of 19 countries. Telling the truth is very important. Even small differences in your travel explanation can cause trouble. If your answer about your plans or job are unclear, officers might question you further. Some travelers have been held for not giving clear answers or for carrying documents that do not match their stated travel purpose. It's smart to carry printed copies of your return flight ticket, hotel booking, and letters from your job or school. These papers show that you plan to return to your home country and can help during extra inspections. Border officers are allowed to check phones and social media. Posts about politics, immigration, or even memes can be misunderstood and cause delays. Experts suggest clearing phones or devices of anything that could be seen as a problem before travel. Some people are choosing other countries instead of the United States. Canada, Portugal, Thailand, and Japan are popular in 2025. These countries have easier entry visas, special visas for remote workers, and less pressure at the border. For example, Portugal's D7 visa lets people work and travel in the Schengen zone, and Thailand's long-term resident visa allows a 10-year stay for professionals and remote workers. And many experts now say to avoid the United States unless it's truly necessary. Traveling to the US might not be as safe as you think. One wrong move and you could end up behind bars. But would you still risk it? Let us know down in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.